Welcome to The View from the East, a new unofficial Leyton Orient podcast. This is episode 2, entitled The Lucky Pod. My name's Rob Bennett, and once again I'm joined by my older, wiser brother, Eddie. Eddie, how are we doing?
Yeah. Thanks very much. I think I'm glad we got our first podcast out of the way. I think the response has been good from what we can see. So, as promised, we're going to try and get one of these out once a week that we can commentate on the games that have happened and the games that are coming up.
So a couple of items just to mention briefly. We've had a few gremlins in the camp. So we did record on Monday, but then when we done the edit, Ed sounded like he was underwater talking. So we've had to re-record today. So sorry for the delay in the podcast coming out to you. It is our second attempt, so I suppose there's bound to be a few hurdles in the way. We've entitled this episode The Lucky Pod. Now, when we was recording on Monday, even then we thought we first recorded last Tuesday when Stevenage were playing Yos, and we looked up and all of a sudden Ballard had banged a couple in, hadn't he? And it was 2-1 to us and we went on and won. But we had another victory on Saturday after releasing the first episode, our intro episode, to you all. So we thought, oh, maybe there is a little bit of a coincidence and a bit of luck on our side. And then, of course, as we sit here recording our sort of new episode again today, we've won again against Wimbledon. So that's 3 on the trot since we put our headphones on and started talking into the microphone. And maybe we are the luck that the team needed to start going up the table. But we'll take that, Ed, won't we?
Yeah, that's true. Well, we were talking about this yesterday. Perhaps we are the final piece of Richie's magic jigsaw puzzle. It may be a coincidence. Look, we've still got 9 games to go until to the end of the season. I think everyone probably took a bit of a deep breath. We've got a good squad. I think what we were discussing before, we've got a lot of better players now tied down to 2 or 3 year deals. And I was thinking about this. This reminds me a lot when Richie first took over 4 years now. We were at the bottom end of League Two. He came in, he turned things around, and we had a good end of the season. And I think that was obviously a good kickstart into the following season. We all know what happened then when we ended up winning the league. So that's what I've had a similar sort of feeling this season, actually. Let's see if we can keep the team together and have a good push on there for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I mean, certainly a good time to get that jinx off our back of not being able to win back-to-back league games. Certainly doing it Saturday, that was good in itself, wasn't it? And then winning again Tuesday night, yesterday, which we will come on to later in the show, but that's got to be good for everyone in the camp. I'm sure we'll mention it later. It must be amazing, the difference a squad with confidence compared to maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago when I'd imagine the feeling in the camp might have just been a little bit down. What can we do to turn things around? Because I'm sure they must have looked at everything they could, trying to get that magic formula. But we'll talk about that as we go on. Ed, it's worth, we did talk about this in our Gremlin pod, as it was. But it's worth talking about the Peterborough game again on Saturday. A great result, I thought, against a team I thought was going to give us a lot of trouble. I think they did for the initial 20 minutes. Very technical players, like a pass around the corner. Gave us a few issues, but then after that first 20 minutes, I thought we sort of pushed on and dominated, really, especially in that second half.
Yeah, I just think as a sort of like we've mentioned before, I think Saturday for me was one of the first times this season where the team just looked a little bit more compact. Everyone knew what they were doing. They wasn't scared of a pass. I think perhaps up until the Barnsley game, from what we could see, people were scared doing the easy passes, not like push the ball forward. But I think now the defence seems to have be a little bit more compact now. We seem to have fallen upon a better looking midfield now. There just seems confidence running through the team, Rob, from what I've seen over the last 3 or 4 games.
Yeah, I think there's feels like there's a bit more energy and legs in the team as well. I know people are going to say, "Oh, hang about," but he can't do 90 minutes. That one can't do 90 minutes, etc. But we've got to bear in mind. I was shown that video, wasn't I, of the training pitch about a month ago, where literally you dropped the football and it was just bathed in mud. From what I was told, they've not been able to train until recently on a full-size pitch. All those practice drills about whether it be long passing, practicing your press on a full pitch, they've not been able to do it. So I'm sure there's a difference there as well. I know they're doing a bit more training at the actual ground as well. But yeah, certainly it was a lot better, wasn't it? I think there's a few standout performances. I thought Morris played really well. We'll come on to him in a bit. The second goal, outstanding, really, wasn't it? We had a bit of a joke about this on Monday when we first spoke. Backinson or Bakinson, I'm sure I've got that right either way. Before he scored, 6 seconds before he scored, there was a collective grumble in the East Side stand as he'd either mispassed the ball or he got caught out in some way. 5-6 seconds later, Theo Archibald's done his Roadrunner routine down the right-hand side, and Bakinson's stuck it in the net from about 20 yards, isn't he, with a wonderful strike. But it does show you, and you did say it shows you, didn't it, you can go from hero to zero, or zero to hero, I should say, very quickly in the space of about 5 seconds.
Yeah, I think Richie sort of mentioned this a couple of times when he's been interviewed. Backinson is so frustrating. His physique, he should be winning every ball in the middle, and probably actually chipping in with more goals as well throughout the season. I think from what I could see, what was happening, we were winning the ball back. It was going to Backinson, and you think, right, a lovely, neat pass forward. Every pass he was doing up until that goal was either a missed pass or about 5 yards too short. So you can see why people are getting frustrated and from what we've seen from him this season. But, you can't knock the guy. What a cracking goal. And perhaps that gives him a little bit more confidence now. And I think we probably saw that as well yesterday.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's got a dig on him, isn't he? He has 2 good goals he scored this season at home. I've got if you get a couple more like that before the end of the season, he's sort of, he's certainly pushing for a regular starting place again, isn't he? But I suppose it's what Richie always says. There's a reason players are playing for us. It's either consistency in terms of they can't do it every week like a championship or a premiership player would do, or it's an injury, isn't it, at some point that's meant they've had to drop down the league to sort of get regular football. I think with Backinson, you can tell it's probably that consistency element, isn't it? So it's sort of, and I suppose if you look at the central midfield players over the season, there's probably been 6 or 7, 8 different pairings in that central midfield. And it's only recently where maybe he's picking from 2 or 3. Now El Mizzi's back 4, sort of in that central midfield. So there's a bit more stability. Maybe you know where you are in the pecking order. And you've got to take your chance, haven't you, to keep the shirt in the team, I think. So good luck to him.
I think, as Rishi sort of like expresses before, we've been so unlucky this year. We seem to get sort of like a couple of wins. Well, not a couple of wins. We only got a couple of wins last week, but we get a win. Then we have a couple of injuries, chop and change with the team again for injuries or for suspension. And it only seems now that everyone's, we've had to play this format. We've gone back to 4 at the back, which we know he likes playing. Everyone knows what they're doing. I think that's run throughout the whole of the team, from the goalkeeper to the forward. Everyone's just seems more happier. Is that a proper way of saying it? More confidence in the team.
Yeah, they're playing with an air of arrogance, with that bit of confidence, which isn't a bad thing. I think sort of confidence and a player who's got that confidence in his own ability when he's allowed to express himself can be a good thing, can't it? I think you can see that with Mitchell as well. I've read some things online and heard some comments about, where's this Mitchell been? He's not really played it many games, has he, in a forward position or a place, a position where he can express himself. He set up the goal at Stevenage, didn't he, with a great bit of skill. There was a flick he done against Wimbledon last night, and also a good drive for I think it was the 3rd goal leading up to that. So he's been able to express himself probably in a way he wants to as well. I don't think he expected earlier in the season really to be playing left wing back or full back too often. I don't think he come in for that, did he?
I think we've probably found this since Richie's been in charge. We get players with maybe a left back or a right back or centre midfield. It evolves throughout their time, and they end up in a position, not that we've necessarily bought them for, but they start excelling in that, and then everything seems to fall into place.
Okay, so now prior to the Wimbledon game, 2 wins on the trot. Things are looking very rosy, or a lot better. We just pulled out of the bottom 4 in the league, which obviously is great. Results on Saturday, I think, went for us in terms of sort of no one was able to get away from that pack and no one jumped out of the bottom four apart from us. Going into Wimbledon, when we spoke on Monday, I would have been happy with a draw. You were very confident. You thought potentially we were going to get 3 or 4 wins on the trot, which...
Yeah, I've seen this before in Richie's teams. It's just once we've got that hoodoo out of the way of 2 wins on the trot, we know we've got a good team if everyone's playing to their full potential, and we know we can challenge the teams at the higher end. It's just this season we seem to have struggled against the teams below us, which has been so frustrating.
So when we played Wimbledon last night, I was watching it at home on the sofa with the other half. I think the only change we had, Livet dropped out. I think he dropped out the squad completely. Atkinson started. That's always a good sign as well. If you're only making one change, then he's keeping faith. And he's always said, if you've got the shirt, then someone's got to get it off you, basically, by either turning it on in training or coming off the bench and sort of putting in a good performance. I thought we started really well. Took the lead with the run of play. I don't think it was sort of a shock when we took the lead. And a nice bit of it. You say you make your own luck, didn't you? But a nice outcome for Ballard. Obviously, O'Neill's had the shot, hit the post, comes out to Ballard. It actually looks like the defender pushes it in. But I'm not going to take his first goal of a hat-trick away.
That's a sign of a good striker, Rob, isn't it? Being in the right place at the right time. And he's obviously full of beans at the moment. And why wouldn't you be?
Yeah. I mean, to give Wimbledon credit after that, because I was sat there on the sofa thinking, wow, we've got 3 wins on the trot. I'm looking at the table, sort of the live table as it's changing. I thought, wow, look, we're up to about 16th here. Sort of where could we get in the table? But then, as I say, credit to Wimbledon. They come on really strong after that, I thought. 2 good goals. I think it's a young right wing back they've got. I'm going to muller his name here. I think it's N Keng.
Yeah,
anyway, only 18. 2 good goals. They basically beat the offside trap, haven't they? The ball's gone over, and he's tucked it away really nice from a tight angle. And then he's done a lovely header. He's caught that nicely, and sort of 2 good goals, well taken. And I thought, here we go. That was just for half time. I think the second goal, and you think, oh no, sort of this could be really tough in terms of at least getting a draw. But then the second half, a couple of changes. O'Neill's gone off, Archibald's come on. I think there was one other change as well. That's it. Happy's come on for the young centre-back from West Ham. Someone maybe be able to tell me. It was difficult to tell on the TV. I think then we've gone to a back 3, Simpson, Happy and James coming in, allowing Archibald to bomb up the right and then Morris to move more into the sort of left wing-back role. And I think after that, we really, really did dominate. I know they came in to it and sort of Dennis Goals pulled off some good saves, but it's that was so fluid in that second half. We could maybe have had maybe 4 or 5 goals, to be fair.
Yeah, I think we've seen glimpses of this throughout the season. I always the game that I always remember. We were at Cardiff when we lost 4-3, but you could see we had patches throughout the game when we were just passing the ball around, attacking, very similar to last year. And I think the next home game, I think we may have won 4-0. And he thought, right, this is the beginning of it. This is the beginning of it. And then obviously that wasn't to happen. I've got confidence that this is the way Richie wants to play. High press attacking, the wing backs running up and down, doing their job. Winning those second balls. It puts us in good stead, I think, for the last 9 games.
Yeah, you know what it reminded me of? I know you wasn't there for the game last year when we had that ding dong with who was it, Barnsley at home.
Yeah.
And, when we come back and won sort of with the 3 goals late on, even then when we was losing to them, you just felt we was going to get something, and then all of a sudden last night when we got the equaliser, you just felt like this is ours. Unless we really do something stupid, which now they've got a bit of confidence, I don't think they're going to do. It's sort of, you felt, right, there's your 3rd goal, there's your 4th goal. As I said, you might even get a 5th.
I think what we've got to remember as well is that Wimbledon were on a bit of a run themselves. I mean, from where they were around sort of Christmas time, New Year's time, I know they beat us 3-1, but everyone was beating us around that sort of period. They'd won their last 3 home games. I think from looking at it, they're only just under 10 points away from the playoffs up until yesterday. So they were going for it as well. It wasn't as if they had their flip-flops on, just waiting for the season to finish.
Yeah, well, there's a nice little carrot there now, isn't there? And you're right, they were playing really well prior to that game, especially home form. There's a nice little carrot for us. Can we now leapfrog them in the league? Just so like we're not the worst London team in the first division.
So you're looking at it now, I think there's only 4 points between us. I think they've both played 37 games now. So, yeah, if we can carry on this run, what's Rishi's aim this season? Obviously, he wants to finish as high as he can, but I think from a supporter's point of view, from where we've been, if we can get anywhere near the top 10, I think we take that. And, we know we've got some good players to come back in the summer, and we know we'll have to strengthen in certain parts. It just puts us in quite confident for next season.
Yeah, Richie seems to have it, and I mean this in a nice way, everyone. He seems to have that nice little cocky swagger back in his walk. He's probably just... We've had a difficult season. He's already sort of said it was going to be a difficult season potentially because of the squad changes. I suppose for him, leading up to the end of the season, it all gets him noticed again, doesn't it? If all of a sudden we can have a nice rise up to the table, you never know if we can get top 12, pushing on top 10, then it looks good again for him. I know, obviously, we don't want to lose Richie, but there are eyeballs on all sorts of managers. There's going to be all sorts of jobs available in the next 18 months. And I think he likes to have his name in the frame, doesn't he? At least being mentioned. It's good for the ego. It's good for any manager sort of who is looking potentially to make a step forward in the future. Ed, let's do a couple of mentions on a couple of players, what we've looked at over the last couple of days. We'll start with Morris, the left-back who we got in from Watford. We watched him very close hand on Saturday from the East Stand. We could look across that line during the second half of the back four. I think he's been outstanding, Ed, and certainly worth the wait in terms of getting him in from Watford and not panicking and getting some other kid in because we thought we needed a body. They were patient, waited their time. Watford sorted out their business. We've got Morris in. What was that, 2 goals? I think 2 or 3 assists. He's playing really well.
Yeah, and I think you're coming with a little bit of championship experience when he's been at Watford. He's cool, he's calm, and he's got some fantastic distribution. I mean, let's be honest, last year we probably lucked out on Curry. He was never ours. He was never going to come back to us unless we actually got promoted to the Championship. It's obviously been a position all season where we've had various players playing there this season, and they've obviously spotted someone probably last summer. Unfortunately, we couldn't get him in the summer. We've got him in January. It just makes you wonder if we had got him in the summer, would we be higher up the league? I think we probably would have done. I think it just brings a little bit more confidence to the back four as a whole.
I think with the keeper in as well, he looks a lot more solid, doesn't he? But if you're that back four, all of a sudden, if you're the left centre back, whether that be Happy at whatever point, Forrester, who's playing Simpson, who's playing really well, by the way, with the captain's armband. That's 2 wins out of 2 as captain. All of a sudden, you've got a left back there who's reliable. He's not out of position. He's not caught halfway up the pitch. Not concentrating or just being caught out. So I'm really happy for him. Someone's going to probably look at this and say, what about that mistake he made, or he had a hard time during the first half last night.
We've got to remember though.
Richie made some changes, adjusted it, then he's looked outstanding again in the second half.
Yeah, we've got to remember though, he's probably coming now, isn't he? When he was at Watford, he looks as if, like looking from his previous appearances, he was sort of in and out during his Watford time, and now he probably knows he's the first choice left back, and I think that it puts pressure on you in some ways, but it's also something to sort of work on now that he may not have ever had this at Watford where he was the first sort of choice. Look, he looks another good signing. Again, I keep on coming back to this thing. I think we've got a strong squad at the moment. We've got a few additions in the summer. A lot of these players are locked in 2 or 3 year deals. I think it looks really good for next year.
So another player we've got to mention, Ed, because he's the superstar at the moment. Don Ballard, another hat-trick. Ed, we've been going down there 40-odd years. We're lucky if we've seen 3 hat-tricks sometimes over the space of 3 seasons. We've seen 3 this year from 1 player.
It's unbelievable, isn't it? And then I was reading somewhere, and someone actually, it was a very, really good point. None of them have been penalties. So it's 21 goals in sort of open play. And And I keep on forgetting as well, he's only 20 years old. We've got him for the next 3 years, maybe 2 years left, and with an option of another year. I mean, the world's his oyster.
Well, it is at the moment. If he keeps doing the right things, then, as you said, he could go anywhere, really. I know what was pleasing last night when I saw it. We've seen him, Ed. He scored some absolute worldies, hasn't he? That goal against Cardiff, remember the one where he curled into the top corner?
Yeah, fantastic.
Scored some beautiful headed goals recently. Where he's really good. For someone, he's not the tallest player in the world, is he? But he's got up there. He scored some great goals. But the two goals I was pleased with, number one, that first goal where it's off the post, he's in the 6-yard box, isn't he? Right on the spot on the player. And then was it his hat-trick goal as well? Again, goalkeeper skill. Yeah. He's there where he needs to be. I hate that phrase, fox in the box, because we don't have that old-fashioned striker anymore. But he is where he needed to be and wasn't on his heels, directly into the area where he needs to be, and he's put the ball away, number 3 for his hat-trick.
I think the other thing we've got to remember, the kids, and I'm going to call him a kid, he's only 20 and he's been leading the line since Connolly's been out. We having him and Connolly, at least Connolly's a little bit more experienced than him, a few years older than him, but he's been leading the line on his own for about the last 3 to 4 months. At 20 years old, we have been to some games, and he just hasn't had the. He may have only touched the ball a few times, but he's just not getting the supply. But now we look as if we've got a couple of wingers there now in place, and the wing backs. He's getting the opportunities now to show what a great player he is. And if the ball goes in the box, and it's left foot, right foot, and with his head,
and all that pace as well. I mean, Richie was mentioning why isn't he being called up or at least looked at for England under 21s?
Well, I think he had a good point, didn't he? I think is it Stansfield or
Birmingham? Yeah,
Birmingham. Yeah, I mean he got called up to the under 21s last year, and they paid £15 million for him.
Yeah, this
kid has scored in every level he's ever played in for England. I think from sort of like under 16 upwards. Why wouldn't you give him a chance? He's obviously in the form of his life at the moment.
Yeah. I mean, I'll give you a quick question, Ed, off scripts. Who's the better player, him or Kelman?
I think they're two. I would say he is. I think they're two different players. I think Kelman was more, from what I saw last season, was getting the ball on the wing, running it in. I think we saw more of a box in the box from Kelman at the back end of last season as we were pushing up. But Bella's 20. He's going to get fitter. He's going to get stronger. He's probably going to fill out a little bit more. If we can keep him for next season, it's going to be a great coup. If I was his agent, I'll be knocking on the door.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the good thing is you've got him. What's he got? Another 2 years, and then we've got the option of the third year. So it's in our hands, really, isn't it? I tell you what I was thinking, and people will laugh at me for this. And this isn't in stature, by the way, or the way they play. He reminds me of Haaland in the fact that obviously Haaland's a goal machine, isn't he? When he runs hot, he can get those 2 goals, 3 goals. He's getting hat-tricks, this, that and the other. And then he'll go cold for a period of time. We'll do something similar from what I've seen. He goes on those streaks, doesn't he? There's 1 there, there's 2 there, there's 3 there all of a sudden. Then he might have 4 or 5 games perhaps where he's still working really hard. Don't get me wrong, he's getting the chances, but the ball's just not running in, going into the net how he wants it. But all of a sudden he's back on it. He's hot again. He's 2, 3, another 2. And it sort of... that's why, was he on 22, 23 goals?
I think it's 21 in the league now. Okay. The other thing to bear in mind, he didn't start the season with us. He was one of the last signings to come through during the summer transfer window. And we've had this discussion before. If Alfie Lloyd had stayed fit, we've still got him.
Yeah, I suppose it's one of those, we'll think about it now. What a stroke of luck if that was the case. That I hate to say stroke of luck, someone gets injured or he pulls up with a muscle injury or whatever, but it's worked out well, isn't it, for us, if that was the case? And sort of Alfie's gone down, and then we thought, right, we do need another body, and we've managed to get him. And for a bargain price, what is he, 50 grand? That's nothing.
Yeah, I think that's what I read, we know there's a sell-on fee, I think, for Southampton. But Southampton must have some cracking strikers if they can afford to let him go for 50 grand.
Yeah, well, I thought for someone his age, and he has got pedigree, like you said, he's played for England at all levels, hasn't he, I think, or a lot of the underage groups. So I thought the sell-on fee for him was like, if you're Southampton, you give like, it would be like 50% or whatever. I know it's a lot less than that. So we've got 50 grand and... Okay, there's a sell-on fee, but it's not as big as what you might think for someone that age who Southampton knew had potential. So, we are in the driving seat there in terms of should teams. There will be teams looking at him, don't get me wrong. Whether you're coming down to our league, there's some pretty big teams potentially coming down to our league, or if you're a championship side, maybe even a premiership side, then you go have your scouts there looking at him, aren't you?
As long as it's not Charlton, Rob.
No, it won't be Charlton. No, not again. No, that can't happen. Okay, right, 3 in a row. Absolutely fantastic form at the moment. Long may it continue. We'll talk about Wycombe, Ed, briefly in a moment. Let's have a bit of fun. Ed, I made a terrible mistake on Saturday. I thought we'd have a nice little treat. We go to West Ham and try the Bowling Tavern. Ed, we stepped inside. Just give me your thoughts on the Bowling Tavern.
It's just one of those places. I hadn't been there. I don't think I may not have ever been there. And we just sort of went, where should we go? Well, let's go to the Bowling Tavern because everyone says it's such a great old-fashioned Cockney East End boozer. We were just really disappointed, Rob, weren't we? It looked as if it hadn't had an uplift since like the 1920s.
Well, I was disappointed from the fact that I thought, and I did end up wearing my red trackie, but I thought I better not show my colours or emblem, just no grief. We're going into a West Ham pub, basically, weren't we? So we walk in, what do we see? What's it, about 10 past 12?
Yeah.
Maybe a 6'6", 20-stone geezer, right hard nut. What's he wearing? He's only a gooner, isn't he? He's wearing an Arsenal top. I thought, what's happening? I wasn't expecting that.
The world's changed. And I think if you like 1920s pubs, this would be the one for you. I think they were playing Vera Lynn songs in the background. I think we had one, Rob, didn't we? And we thought, let's just get back to Waltham Forest.
Yeah, it's off my tick list of pubs I'll try. I said this on the recording on Monday. I'm all for keeping our pubs open. These traditional pubs, got to keep them going. All these businesses, let's help our boozers. I'm going to leave the West Ham fans to help that boozer out because I'm never stepping foot in that place again. Long may it rain as the Bowling Tavern, but not with me in it. Right, Ed, before we get on to Wycombe, let's tell everyone where we're going to on Saturday prior to the game.
Oh, yeah. So Saturday, Wycombe kick-off at 3. We are going to the William IV in Leighton, near the Baker's Arms.
Yeah, the Baker's Arms. So the Williams Fourth we've been to before this season, and we've been to it a few times prior as well, haven't we? Sort of over the years. It's recently been done up over the summer. So now it's owned by, I think they're called the XL Brewery Company. They own a couple of pubs in East End. I think there's one in Mile End. I think there's one in Hackney as well. But they're a local company. They've really done it up nice. Traditional pub at the front. Got a nice little sports area in the middle where they do their food as well. You told me this, Ed, but I'll read it out because it's in front of me here.
Go for it.
The home of Short Road Pizza, which not only has been voted as the best pizza in the UK, but it's also been voted by Time Out as the 3rd best pizza in the world, which is a little bit of a coup, isn't it, for Leighton?
Yeah, it's on your doorstep, isn't it? That's like say Leytonstone, Walthamstow, they're all changing, and I think they're doing up a lot of their pubs, restaurant, bars to appeal to the wider audience. It's really changed in a positive way, I think, over the last 5 years or so.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a guest coming with us, haven't we, on Saturday? So we thought we'd try out somewhere nice, reliable, I suppose. You're going to get a nice pint, something nice to eat. But I would highly recommend it. I'll be in there from about 12 o'clock on Saturday. I do like to start early. So if you are about, come and say hello. I'll be sat in the sports area with all the big TVs and a bit of Leighton Orient memorabilia on the walls around there as well. So, yeah, if you're in the Williams Fourth, come and say hello. We'll have a chat about your O's and we'll chat about Wycombe, which we're coming on to now, Ed. We mentioned just before we come and started recording, up until the Tuesday's game, I was looking at Wycombe's form. I saw they've lost a couple recently, slipped out of the playoffs. All of a sudden, I look at the results last night, bang, bang, they've beat Cardiff 2-0 away.
Yeah, what result for them? Yeah, you're right. They lost their 2 previous games. You're thinking, is this the Wycombe of last season? Where we know they sort of they were in the top 2 and they drifted off, and they only just really scraped in the playoffs in the end. And it's sort of like they run out of steam. Yeah, what a cracking result, Cardiff away. It looks as if they're they're only 3 points now off the playoffs. They've got everything to play for as well.
Yeah.
It reminds me a little bit like last year when we played them. We were both aiming. I think they were probably aiming for automatic, and we were aiming to get into the playoffs. And we know we sort of like ended up winning that 1-0. We were on that cracking streak at the end of the season. So
they should have got up automatic, shouldn't they? Then they had to change a manager. They was on a bit of free fall when we played them. What would be nice, obviously, last year they done us at their gaff and then we turned it around. They've done us a kipper at their gaff already this season. They beat us easily, really. So it would be nice to get a result. Obviously, if we can win on Saturday, it will be a tough game, don't get me wrong. I would probably take a point, but 3 points would be nice. If we can get that win, 12 points from 12 over recent games, that must then, I think it puts up us at least one position.
Yeah, I think we make up one position.
There's a little bit of a gap from us, like, I don't know, from 15th to 14th, so there's a little bit of a gap. But it does take the pressure off. If we can get another win or a positive result, all the pressure's on those teams below us.
Yeah, I think we definitely need... look, 3 points is going to be fantastic. I was sort of like looking at the league earlier on. Blackpool are in the fourth and bottom position at the moment. They're on 41 and we're on 45. So we still need to, get those extra points. I've heard that 51 points is the safety net. So the closer we can get to that.
So we just need, what you're saying is we just need 2 wins and we can put our flip-flops on because we've got 45 points at the moment.
Yeah, flip-flops on, and then we can all dream of next season.
He's tight down there, David, looking at it. How's your luck? A team in 3-4 bit, Exeter, and they've changed manager and they've gone back to, what's his name, Matt Taylor, who used to be there. But Gary Caldwell left to go to Wigan, and now he's 20th in the league, Exeter in 19th. You can see that's probably going to be like, they must play each other, I guess, before the end of the season.
Yeah.
What's he going to do? Is either going to go down potentially with the team he's gone to in Wigan, or potentially he's going to put his old team down in Exeter. So I've got a feeling Blackpool get out of it, and then Rotherham, Northampton, Port Vale potentially down. So it
looks that way, doesn't it? I suppose I keep on forgetting that there is only 9 games left. There's still a few points to play for, isn't there? But you just want to start. You need to get that sort of 1 win every sort of 3 games in if you're stuck down there. But
we've all been there before. If you want to win a league or if you want to get promoted over a season, if you can 2 points plus average, then you're flying, aren't you? If we can do that over the last 9 games, then we're laughing, or potentially then we can get top 12. Ed, I understand you've had an email. You've got a little bit of breaking news. You want to share that with us?
Yeah, I have had an email from Leyton Orient today. I probably haven't told any of you, but I joined the Forever Orient scheme around a month ago or so. And I had an email today, so I've been invited to attend the exclusive Forever Orient full shirt reveal. So they've asked me to go there on Monday.
You better not tell us the time, Ed, just in case crowds of people try and join you.
Oh, well, that's true. Yeah. Selfies and stuff like that. So I'll be heading down there Monday evening. I guess they'll just do a reveal of the shirt and then they'll be distributed later on. But it'd be interesting to see. Now we've got the new shirt company associated with us, what it's going to look like, and possibly we may get a small inkling of what the main shirts are going to look like next year.
Okay, so we can blame you if the shirt's terrible, and the chance for you to be a bit of hobnobbing. I'm sure Mark Devlin, people like that will be there, wouldn't there, for you to talk to? That'd be nice for you. So we'll look to wrap up the show now. A bit on the socials for contact, just to confirm. We can be contacted on email via theviewfromtheeast@outlook.com. On X, you can get us at viewfromeast. To confirm, we're on Spotify for the podcast. I have added it to Amazon Music or Amazon Podcasts as well. I'm trying to sort out Apple Podcasts. That is being a headache and a half. Apple do not make things easy. And also YouTube should be set up by the weekend. So I'll let you know on the socials about that once it's up and running. And then we'll look to do another episode depending on you and your shirt launch on Monday.
Well, I might be wearing
on Tuesday. Okay, so thank you again for all the comments and feedback that we've received so far. Please, again, Feel free to contact us directly with any opinions or thoughts on what you'd like to see or what you'd like to hear. We look forward to hearing from you. Up the O's.
Come on, you O's.